Has it ever occurred to you when, you get the feeling that some people get under your skin, or maybe you're kind of drawn to kind of different kind of personalities, sometimes toxic relationships or toxic personalities. But what if I told you that these reactions have nothing to do with the other person and it's everything to do with you? And so, famous quote of the world is just a mirror of yourself, it's pretty true, man. So I'm gonna try and explain as best as I can how and why the way you feel about others is actually a mirror that kind of reflects different parts of yourself that, one, you probably haven't recognized, or two, you might be avoiding. And so some parts of the video may trigger you. However, it's important to kind of use this perspective, I guess you could say, to kind of transform your relationships with the world and its people, as well as deepening your self-awareness. So it's more so discovering yourself, self-awareness. So let's get started. So if you haven't noticed already, have a think for a second and try and figure out what really makes you feel bothered that people do, or just some kind of trait that others might do that makes you feel uncomfortable. And to be honest, this doesn't mean that you're like bad in any way, or that your feelings aren't valid by any means necessary. It's more so that we're trying to kind of study and analyze what your, I guess, emotional reactions are going to be like, because it's information at the end of the day. The way that you feel about certain things is crucial to understanding who you truly are. And I think one of the best ways to learn more about yourself is to kind of collect this valuable data on yourself, because it just gives you like insights that you can't really read from anyone else, because it's not you. Anyway, so maybe a really bad example could be someone that frustrates you. Maybe it's a coworker, you might be in a meeting, or maybe you just find yourself irritated from some of their actions, like whatever it may be, right? Just a terrible example. Or, maybe you find yourself doing stuff when you feel nervous that you wouldn't do if you weren't nervous. Or like maybe you're envious of someone who's got the confidence to kind of speak up whilst you're stuck overthinking a lot of different things. Or like, oh, this is a good one, right? So, perfect example of social media. You see everyone living the perfect life on there, man. All these smiles and happiness and holidays and luxury and just a bunch of stuff, right? And for some of you, you might have some criticism that comes along with it. You might be thinking in your head, oh man, why is their life perfect and mine isn't? Or maybe you just judge them, and judgment is a pretty bad thing that we can do sometimes, because who are we to judge? So you have to really ask yourself, like, am I really bothered by their success, or am I really kind of trying to confront my own insecurities about where I am in life? Because the thing is, you're not going to hate on another person unless there's something within yourself that triggers you to the point of hating on someone else. And quite frankly, this is why if you are someone who receives a lot of hate, it's literally on them. It's not even on you in any kind of regards. Unless you're doing something very silly, like harming other people. I don't recommend that. And I don't think you should do that. So, don't do that. But these kind of things, they're just reactionary kind of thoughts that that kind of come across. And this is great, because now you're pretty much already on step one, or at least finishing step one to self-discovery, because it's a roadmap. You've really started the blueprint. Only thing is, nobody really follows through on it. And that's where most people fail, because it's scary, it's daunting, it's scary to say that, maybe I'm wrong. Nobody wants to be wrong. Everyone wants to be right. But it's important to actually understand yourself to create a far more fulfilling life that's authentic. Don't you want to live a life that's real? Come on, man. You can. And shout out to Carl Jung, because I'm pretty sure he's the one that came up with the concept of the shadow self. Just think of the shadow self as like a bunch of the nasty stuff that you have in your, I guess, brain and emotions that you just kind of push all the way back to the parts of your brain which is the unconscious. So again, this is the part of your brain that doesn't really get used much, but it's still there, and it's still there lurking, And that's, I guess, why they call it the shadow self. It's just lurking in the background. And typically we do this because we don't really kind of, accept ourselves and because it's crazy because we develop these kind of self images where it's not even who we are because we're scared of judgment or we're insecure about other things, and it's like it can be really harmful on a long-term scale, man, because it's going to be treating others in that kind of way. You're going to be bringing it to people, and the thing is, because you're pushing all of these feelings to your unconscious, the way you treat other people is going to be pretty unconscious too, which means you have no awareness around it, which means that you don't even realize what you're doing. And I find that crazy because a lot of people who do a lot of wrongdoings in the world, although wrongdoings is very subjective, they think they're right because they don't have the awareness to realize, yo, maybe I'm the problem. And that sucks, man. That really sucks. I guess in a way it's necessary in some grand scheme of things, I guess. Yeah, we pretty much unconsciously project a lot of our things that kind of threaten our inner self. We kind of put it to other people, and that's really selfish. Or we deny them, because why would we not want to see ourselves as good or competent or even worthy? And if there's any kind of threat to this image that we have, it's like, no, it cannot exist. But remember this, it's not your enemy. I know you get a lot of videos saying you versus you, and it is true. However, you have to understand that these kind of emotions and these kind of, I guess, unconscious feelings and thoughts you may get, it's not your enemy. It's just part of you, and it makes you who you are. It's just that you haven't accepted it enough to be able to kind of integrate it into a very positive manner. And until you do, you're going to keep seeing these kind of things spread. I don't know why, but negativity seems to spread pretty fast. If you have 99 great interactions in a day and you have one bad one, that bad one will stick out like a sore thumb, and you won't be able to stop kind of thinking about that, right? You probably had that kind of scenario before. You know what it's like. So it's really important to kind of start to deal with it in a way where you can actually integrate and understand where it's coming from. Like if we use the example of anger, for example, you can use that towards willpower. You can use that towards getting stuff done. Little things, what's practical. So the next time you actually think or you unconsciously do something or have a thought about someone else, have a think to yourself, what about this person's behavior is touching a nerve in me? And what am I not willing to see in myself? And it's going to be hard to do this because, again, it's kind of unconscious when you're doing this kind of stuff, right? But humility, humble yourself a little bit. And then on the other side of the fence, you get stuff like positive projections, which is something that I don't think many people really understand. Everyone obviously, like I said before, focuses on the negative projections and stuff like that, but sometimes, people worship other people. Like, I saw a video the other day, and it was some fan who passed out after seeing Michael Jackson, and I was like, whoa, why? Like, I don't think people understand that they are very gifted people. However, they are human just like yourself. And sometimes when you're in awe of someone else's, I guess, like creativity, compassion and courage and all of those great qualities that exist in the world, sometimes you might even be recognizing those same qualities within yourself, even if you don't realize it. Like if you look at some of the qualities that draws you to your role models, what is it exactly about them? Is it their authenticity? Is it their resilience? Is it their creativity? And the truth is, you probably have all of these things within you. Otherwise, why would you share an interest with them? Why would you be able to, how would you be able to recognize and appreciate some of the traits if you didn't even have the capacity for them within yourself? And a lot of times, insecurity comes to the forefront and it says, I wish I could be like them. Oh, he's so cool, she's so cool, they're so cool. Nah, man, you could be like them, you can be like them, you can be better than them. Again, it takes that honesty with yourself to really, truly do it. And it goes beyond just celebrities or idols or whatever. Even the people you have right around you, everyone around you, maybe not family, because family's like, you can't really change that, right? But let's say like friends or partners, if you got a wife or whatever, colleagues if you're working, school friends, whatever the case may be, right? Whoever is gravitated towards us are going to be very largely reflecting aspects of ourselves that either we're working on, or if they annoy you, gotta address, maybe you gotta address a couple of things. And that's not to say that everyone is picture perfect who might annoy you. Of course they may have problems. However, it shouldn't be a case where it kind of overtakes who you are and your emotions. And you'd be surprised, because a lot of people, they might go through toxic relationship after toxic relationship, or certain attitudes that just repeat circumstances just with different people over and over. There's got to be something wrong with the person who's keeps happening to. There's got to be some kind of projection or some kind of mirroring that is happening across these things for it to keep on happening again and again. Those people will often blame the world or the people within it, rather than taking initiative and saying, you know what, I'm going to heal parts of myself. And I'm going to give you maybe a little bit of a practical exercise if you've made it this far. Think about like 3 people who you find or who you deem quite close to yourself, and what qualities do these people share? What interests do you all have in common? And how might these qualities be reflecting aspects of yourself? Or maybe you respect qualities of them which are also a part of you. You ain't gonna get this answer instantly, by the way. However, I do suggest that you spend some time thinking about that, because it's gonna be really important to actually find it. Now, don't overthink it, right? Because I know a lot of people like to do that too. Just have a little spark in your head to say, you know what? Damn, that's pretty cool. Because you might even realize that there's a lot more than you thought. It might even make you respect your friends more, or your family more, or whoever it may be. Or it could do the opposite. But it's all for the betterment of yourself, right? So, since we're on the topic of practicality, let's have a little step-by-step process in terms of how I guess we should try to use it for any kind of personal growth, or using the mirror within yourself for growth. So obviously number 1 is awareness. I feel like awareness is going to be the biggest thing when it comes to actually fixing this. And when you have a strong reaction to someone, if you can do your best to remember to pause for a second and actually observe yourself for a second, you're gonna probably be revolted by yourself sometimes if it's a really negative reaction, because you're gonna be like, wow, I don't deserve this. I deserve better feelings. This should not trigger me at all. I deserve a life of feeling good without being swayed by other people. So be curious as well when you're like this, not judgmental, because you're probably gonna be in some kind of funk when you do find this stuff out. Everyone is, but it's like, over time, it's gonna help so much. It's gonna help retain more energy within yourself, within your mind. Your emotions aren't gonna be drained. It's gonna be a lot better. And then obviously, once you've started to do that, once you've become a bit curious enough to understand what's going on, maybe then we can start to analyze ourselves and how this insecurity lies within our own lives, and how we've been projecting, or how we've been kind of doing these random different things, then accept it. Accept that the world is going to be the way it is, and accept that you're going to be on your path of healing. Which this bit is probably going to take the longest, because you're going to get a bunch of different rebounds where you're going to be triggered, you're going to be in some kind of funk, but you really got to understand, you know what, it's for the betterment. I'm going to have my off days, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep going, and I'm going to kind of be more honest with myself. And honesty is the best policy, man. It's true. There's a reason why it's a famous saying. And honestly, I just say don't view triggers like punishments, man. Because the thing is, they're basically invitations to become more whole. A lot of people, when they kind of go on the journey of self-discovery and stuff like that, they tend to stop doing it because it's really uncomfortable. And it's all down to their perspective, the way that they view things. They're viewing it too bad, man. It's like, no, you're supposed to embrace good and bad. That's the whole part of life. If it was just all good, it would suck. If it was just all bad, it would suck. Best of both worlds. You know, you get white bread and you get brown bread. You need both. Like, I'll give like another example, because everyone's got people, if you have a friendship group, right, who's always going to be late. Now, sometimes instead of, you know, focusing on their behavior and how it triggers you, you can ask yourself, well, I mean, they shouldn't be late in the first place, right? But if it takes it too far within your emotional space, ask yourself, where in my life am I not respecting boundaries or following through on commitments? Are they just like me? Or, on the other side of the spectrum, am I envious of their relaxed approach to time? How do people not overthink? How do people stay so calm? Stuff like that, man. It's just little things that you can just be curious. Be curious, man. Honestly. And you know what? Thank all the people who might have mistreated you, because they're all showing you different aspects of yourself. Thank the unconscious parts of your mind that's caused this kind of stuff. And even that alone can transform your emotions into gratitude. And there's countless studies on how gratitude can be of benefit and stuff like that. Like, you can just go on Google and just type it in. Like, it just makes you feel better. If you feel better, you're gonna do better. If you do better, you're gonna live better. It's pretty simple, right? And to be honest, I would say that the ultimate benefit of probably understanding projection isn't just gonna be for self-awareness alone. A large portion of this video has focused on self-awareness, but it also gives you the ability to see other people more clearly. Because when you start to kind of work on yourself a little bit more, you're going to see and recognize every bit of unconscious parts of you. And then you're going to be able to see that in other people because they were like you. Not only that, but you're also going to be able to see people as they are rather than just your emotional bias. Just as without kind of reflections of your unresolved issues that you got going on internally. That's where life really starts, because sometimes bias and actual facts can really distort reality sometimes. And a lot of us live in bias because we're very emotional creatures. Yeah, to summarize, journey isn't going to be easy. It definitely won't be. But don't take that as a thing of you shouldn't try, because you should try. The reward is too immense not to. The risk to reward is just worth it, because man, life is better. Relationships are going to be based on authenticity. It's not going to be based on projections. You're going to have a deeper understanding of your own complex, beautiful human side of yourself. You're going to be able to just give more to people. You're just going to, man, I just can't like tell you how good it is, right? It's really important to start. And again, even if you've reached a point where you're like, ah, man, I don't know if I can do this anymore. Take it easy. Give yourself some time to rest, man. You crave rest. Now, apart from that, I hope you're doing well. If you've made it this far, I hope everything is going well. And if it's not, it will get better. You're becoming stronger. The fact that you've kind of come this far in this video is proof enough that you're trying to work on yourself in some kind of way. Yeah, remember, life is like a teacher. A lot of the people who are going to trigger you are going to be like teachers to you, and view them like that, because some of the qualities that you admire in other people are going to be seeds of your own potential. Every interaction that you have with other people are going to be more opportunities to know yourself deeply. So if you're in a kind of a bit of a pickle of a situation, or things are going a bit rough, remember, think of it as if they're a teacher. Think of it as a situation being a teacher that eventually will get you to graduate the lessons of life. And until next time, take care.